Here we go.
Farm Companion.
June 26th. As we record this, if you're listening to it, can't do the math. I think it's the 29th.
Sounds right.
I think it's 29th.
Sounds right.
Almost July.
Coming right up.
Critical month of antler growth.
Getting right into it. Crazy. It is crazy that we're into summer at this point, I would say.
Yeah, we were just...
it's been 90 degrees this week. It better be.
Yeah, 100 with the heat index. We were talking... I was sending Emily some pictures this morning of that buck I showed you, and I was just like, man, that deer's got so much growth he's going to put on in the next 30 to 40 days.
Which one is that?
That drop tine 9 one.
Oh, yeah.
It's, because he's got an impressive frame, but like...
He was a slammer. What do you think he was last year?
Mid to high 40s.
As a 3-year-old dude?
Yeah.
You really think so?
I do.
You're pretty convinced. Those pictures you showed me, I would have guessed 4.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen other.
He was hanging with a bunch of other 3-year-olds. They all kind of look the same.
Really?
Maybe 4. Yeah, maybe he's a 5-year-old this year. I don't know.
Huh.
We'll see. But are
you teetering on whether or not he's on the list? Or at this point you think he's 4 and you don't?
Yeah, at this point he's on the protect.
Interesting.
Yeah, but we'll see what comes up. I say protect from me.
I bet he's 5 and I bet he's high 50s.
My dad and the kids will be like, yeah, they'll be all over him like flies on shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'll be. But
I guess that's kind of the biggest developments here of this past week. You've been running cameras for a little bit here, but
not many though. I mean, I've got a couple really on each farm.
It's funny how it whittles down to the best cameras. All those pictures that I've sent you. So I've got slammer 4-year-old and two 6-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
That's on 3 cameras that I put out. I got one on each of them.
Yeah. That's funny.
I mean, you know where to put them. It's like, it's this establishment.
This is where they're going to be. Yeah, I'm going to place, I'm going to put at least 2 or 3 out in Kentucky. And then I've got a couple they're dead. They're just like out there. So I just need to either reactivate them or move them.
Don't let me forget. I have your case of batteries in my car.
Critical. Can't turn them on without a battery,
Yeah. I saw people were guessing like the cost on that. I was like, yeah,
you're not even close.
Yeah, that's not close.
I'm still donating plasma and semen to pay for this.
So much cum.
Yeah, that'll do it. So, so it is that time of year of like where cameras are getting deployed, starting to be able to take form to be like, that's this deer, that's this deer, that's this deer.
Yeah, that's my biggest development for sure. We had some of those, some of the known bucks from last year show up. We can talk about it. We can talk about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The one I passed last year on November 1st that we called Temptation showed back up.
Slammer.
He's a giant.
He must have dropped early because he's so far along.
He must have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when he did because... he was literally on us for, I'm going to say 90% of the time during the season. And anytime he left, like I saw it. I was like, oh, there he goes. And then he'd be on this property for a day and then he would always come back. And he definitely cored on us. I mean, that's the good news. And really his core in November was like deep on us, as deep as you could get. So that's
balls deep, you might say.
That's the good thing.
Did he leave when the beans ran out?
He left when the beans ran out, like in January, and he went over, and our neighbors found them. And they're cool. I haven't held them yet. Now's the perfect opportunity, though. I'll go over and see if I can get hands on those sheds. And,
that'd be awesome.
And I'll show him the pictures and stuff, too.
Because, that deer's throwing G5s right now.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got freaking a big, giant split brow tine. He's got 3 different points coming off of his other brow tine there. He's got a kicker coming off of his beam somewhere, like you might call it a drop time, but a 2 or 3 inch kicker there. And that deer's freaking all over, like we said, high 60s. It's fun. It's funny how different people look at him. I sent that to Brackett, and he goes, "That deer's 200 all day." I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, okay.
Yeah, no.
I sent it to Skip, and Skip's like said the same thing basically. He's like, that deer is way bigger, or maybe far along than the deer that I shot last year.
It's the body size.
Probably, yeah.
That's what gets it. Same with last year. I mean, we don't know. We haven't got our hands on them, but like, I think we were like, that deer's all over 40s as a 3-year-old last year, and
he probably was.
I don't know. Your neighbor didn't seem very impressed with it.
Yeah. No, it was just probably the mass of it. If they thought he was older than he was or something. Yeah. Hard until I get my hands on. I will say though, dude, generally when I get hands on antlers off deer off of our farms, I'm not Generally, I'm like, they're not as big as I thought
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're bigger.
I assume it's body size.
That would mean that they're bigger than the deer are bigger.
That makes it seem like the antlers are bigger than they actually are.
That would mean the deer bodies are smaller.
Yes.
Which they aren't giant deer generally. Usually, I'm looking at 180-inch field dressed bucks.
Pounds, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, pounds. Yeah, that are, and generally those are 4-year-old deer, 4 to 5-year-old deer.
Versus 200 to 220s, and some of the Midwest are bigger.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I mean that definitely seems like that one Brian killed. That 4-year-old was a giant body.
Monster.
But you could tell, that deer had a giant body on him.
Yeah.
Some of these other ones, like GR8, didn't look that big of a body last year, and clearly wasn't.
Really curious to see how those guys will finish out this year. The GR8. I mean, that's a 6-year-old buck. That should be peak performance.
I assume he's gonna be 140.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just Well, we talked about this. We'll stick on your farm for a second. Like that deer that we're talking about, Temptation, is a 200-inch genetic deer.
All day.
And, whether it's next year or
6-year-old,
as a 6-year-old, he hits 200. Somewhere, if he makes it, he hits 200.
Probably multiple years. It's probably like a 6 and 8. They usually have 1 year off type of a thing.
But
who knows?
That's not the first 200-inch deer that you've typical gene-wise that you've had on that property. They just can't get there.
Well, in fact, I think I sent it to Skip yesterday. I have 2 other deer that within the past, I don't know. Well, one's still alive as far as I know. Or was alive last year. Yep. And Unicorn, who was 2 years ago.
They have very similar cages.
100%.
Same line.
Those are his genetics.
Yep, same line.
I'm 100% sure on Unicorn because of the area, but I'm 80-90% sure on the other one too.
Yeah, because when you show me that, I'm like, that's who that deer looks like. Is that 180 from last year?
Yeah, they have very similar frames, just like the wraparound, their main frame 11, 12. They got
stickers.
Serious brow tines.
So yeah, I mean, it's just that's and it's crazy to say that just because you think about how rare a 200-inch whitetail is. And I'm not saying that other people don't have the same situation, but like multiple deer in the last 5 years that have the potential to be 200, they just don't get there from an age standpoint on your property. Which the dilemma came up because it was like, all right, let's say this deer's a gross 170 this year. It's like, do you pass him at 4 to try to get him to 190? Do you not pass him? Like, that's the dilemma of history saying you can't get them there.
I think it's a deer. I mean, in my case here, it's a deer to deer situation. Like, there's a lot of factors at play. It's like there's other people that hunt the property. If it was, so right now I'm leaning pretty hard towards we'll probably shoot him. And when I say we,
you mean you?
I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes. Type of thing. Because like, see, and I don't know. It gets somewhat complicated because there's other older deer that because of their age and the history I have with them, would probably prefer to hunt. But like, if we're gonna all cave and shoot this, giant potential deer, he's still a big deer. I'd love to shoot a
monster
170-inch deer. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I can say pretty confidently, if it was just me, and depending on how this neighbor situation shakes out, I definitely wouldn't shoot it. But probably. If I felt like there was, I don't know what the percentage is, but if there was a decent chance he would live, then I'd pass him. But
yeah, I don't know what the right answer is.
Also, I say it like it's that easy. Like, who knows? Dude, these deer at 4 years old will flip a switch, and like, I don't know. Yeah. He might. Last year he was super killable. I could have killed him, multiple times if I was intentionally. I literally did pass him one time at like 8 yards. But I can't say that he'll do that again this year. So,
yeah, and I mean, I think it probably comes down to the individual hunter too. Like for most people, the majority of bow hunters, that's a buck of a lifetime. And so, if it's the buck of a lifetime or one of your biggest bucks ever, like, yeah, I mean, you can't blame it. The deer manager in me is like, man, I just. And I think I said this to you, it's like I would almost rather him get killed at 5, not by me, and at least see what he turns into than me kill him at 4.
It's an interesting question.
And that's just where I'm at. Like I'll have deer on my properties. It'll be the same thing. Like that one we were just talking about. It's like, okay, let's say that deer's high 50s and a 4-year-old, like that's a top 3 or 4 deer that I've ever killed. Like, do you kill that deer, or do you just rather see him get to 5 and just have a chance of making him look like a booner or a 180 or 190, whatever it ends up being?
Well, there's definitely an element of like satisfaction that comes from just having that quality of a deer on your property.
I agree.
At the age. So I'm advocating for that point there. Is it enough to like to lose the opportunity over, from the year before?
And I don't know. That's the tough answer. And I think the harder part is history's working against you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if historically it's like, boy, even over the last 10 years, like several of those guys have gotten through, like they can get there.
It's interesting. I've almost become numb to like the deer just dying. Like I am excited about this deer.
Yeah.
But like
you assume he's dead this year.
I assume
regardless.
He's dead. Yeah. And it's like, and he's not in the realm of giant status to where I'm like super fixated on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's getting there and I'd love to see him. I understand what's at stake here. You know what I mean? Like he has all the potential in the world, but like I'm just so used to it not working out that I assume that'll be the case. And I'm kind of okay. And I have other deer of the age class that I want to hunt. So I think we'll just kind of have to see how it shakes out,
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you can't control the neighbors regardless of what happens.
Yep.
It would be the dynamic within your own hunting group.
Yep, we'll have to figure that out. Frankly, it's hard. That's, it's not just, I know it's not just our group. Every group. It's if you guys are hunting and it's like there's a limited resource, or a limited number of deer the number of guys you have hunting outweighs the number of, or outnumbers the number of mature bucks that you have type of a thing. It's hard to even, it's a tough spot to be to like distribute the information. Because it's like, who do you tell for? Frankly, as of today, I've only told my dad.
Yeah.
I sent dad because he's my dad.
And eventually it'll trickle out,
Yeah. I'm going to tell everybody eventually, but it's just, I just know how guys are and everybody's going to want to jump at it.
Like, great, where do I need to sit to get the best chance at him?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it is hard. And, I think the difference being in that, like, it's your property, but it's your dad's property, right? Like on my farm, that deer, I would probably tell Kevin if he goes and hunts the Ohio farm, I'm like, hey, that deer's off.
Sure. Easy.
Don't kill it. But would I call my kids or Finn or my dad off of him? No.
You wouldn't?
Just say, hey, if he's there, go, great, kill him,
Why is that, do you think?
I mean, I guess from my dad's standpoint, like that'd be the biggest buck he's ever killed.
That's fair.
He's, how many good hunting seasons, bow seasons he have left?
Yeah.
I think from the kid's side is like, and I haven't done it much, is like, I think the more that we talk to people and just talk about kids and getting them into it and stuff is like, I just want them to be excited, and the last thing that I think would make them excited, Finn's probably a little different just in his maturity and stuff of what he's done, but like still, like if that buck's coming through the woods and the timber, like I know it's going to get him excited. And then to be like, hey, like we have to pass that deer. That's like the biggest kill like of emotions and excitement that there could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you, and I'm not advocating that I don't care. You do what you want, but it's an interesting thing. Like when you establish beforehand that like, hey, this one deer is off limits.
Yeah.
Then going to the woods, it's almost kind of like you have a totally different mindset when you see him. You're just like, oh, there he is. Like, we know we can't shoot him, but he's like, oh, then you just watch.
And I mean, I intentionally, like, especially if there's other deer to kill that are ones that I would prefer them to shoot. Like,
sure, try to put them on that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like intentionally try to hunt that deer, but yeah, I think I'm at the point now. Like I've been in that spot. Unfortunately, I haven't had to do it, right? Like where I'm like, hey, we're not gonna kill this deer. We're not gonna kill this deer, and the deer didn't show up anyways, right? So there was no call off. But I think I'm at the point where like, especially from the age they're at and an excitement standpoint, or like we just talked about Tim and going to get them suited up with compounds. Like, I don't know if they'll be ready to do it this year, but hypothetically, if they were and that buck comes in, it's like, yeah, I'm not calling them off.
Right.
Let it fly.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like it's
in my defense, these are all grown men who have shot good deer.
Agree.
That I'm calling.
Yeah, which is a completely
different, not kids and old men.
Yeah, it's a completely different deal there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that I'm just trying to we talked about it. It's like you can't make everybody happy. You never will. If anything, you're just trying to create the better experience from it. And for a lot of these deer, I think I have enough satisfaction out of them, especially when they're 4, of like they're there. I've got them to this point. I'll roll the dice to see if they get to 5, and definitely most won't make it, right? But I think it's not that I wouldn't be grateful, but I know that I wouldn't be as excited killing them as a 4-year-old as I would a 5-year-old.
Sure. And that's an interesting place that we're at there, because I'm definitely not saying that I won't shoot 4-year-olds anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I shot one in Iowa.
Yeah, right.
And
I might this year. Yeah. I mean, it really is like a situational thing. So, I mean, and that's okay. Like,
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Would I prefer for him to be 5? Yeah, but do I realize the reality of the situation? And so it's an interesting, compromise that you have to kind of make there yourself. I'm not going to just never shoot deer again because they don't live to that.
No, I mean and I think that's the expectations. Like, I would say I'm very much trying not to kill a 3-year-old in Pennsylvania, but 4 is dead in this state for sure.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't even think twice about it, especially when I'm hunting public on the mountain.
Never think twice on that.
Yep. And so no brainer there. And it's because I have no control over what's happening there, right?
Yeah. Well, isn't it interesting that tells us it's not 100% tied to the age? It's just like what's just out of reach, what's just hard enough but still possible.
Yeah, it's a 4-year-old in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And debatable if it's 4 or 5 in Ohio,
right?
Depending on where you're at and your neighbor situation, your property size, private.
Well, and deer specific.
Public.
I mean, I'm fortunate to have. I've got a couple 2 to 6-year-olds that I know of, and I'm like, that's age wise highly unlikely, So I'm stoked about that.
Well, and I mean that's the. We don't get into a ton of arguments about it just because I think it's stupid, but it is funny because. Nobody sits back and just says, well, I don't care about the antler size. It's a factor in every decision. If it wasn't, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. It'd be like, well, clearly you're going to just go shoot the 6-year-olds. Why are you even thinking about this deer? Well, because he's going to be a 170-inch deer.
Oh, yeah. And so, I like antlers.
Yeah, we all do. Every deer hunter likes antlers. Mm-hmm. Sure, you might like meat and you might like the camaraderie and whatever else. I'm not saying you don't. But, again, there's nobody that's sat at the base of an oak tree and hasn't daydreamed of a giant buck coming through the woods. Sure. It's just that's the root of where we're at. That's the king of the forest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's a really tough spot to figure out where's that threshold of your satisfaction is going to be there, because I mean, dude, I get a blast out of killing does with my bow still. But is it the same as killing a 5-year-old buck? No. It's a completely different feeling. Yeah. I enjoy both of them. But that, it's because of how, to your point, almost just out of reach. It's so hard to get that deer to 5. And then to pull it off with a bow is that is the ultimate, that's the culmination of bow hunting.
Yeah. I mean, well, dude, it's the romance of the whole situation too. The odds of that deer daylighting in October or opening day on the water hole that I have spent a lot of time. It's not just the water hole, but that's the area.
It's the epicenter of the property.
This beautiful water hole, this beautiful, plot and stuff. All the switch, and he's right in the thick of it. And my access to that stand is perfect. And I'm like, dude, if we decide that the odds of him living are very, very low, and I can kill him in that situation, and kind of on my terms, I'm like, I think I would probably do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest part of all of it is we're not even talking about we are, but we're not hey, this is how easy it's going to be to kill him. That's a whole different ballgame. We're just talking about getting him to the age or the size of now we're excited about this. This is a motivator. We're locked in on that thing. Then, yeah, the whole different thing is that's great. But once you have them, then it's formulate a plan to kill them. In some cases, he may walk right to that water hole, daylight, and you smoke him the first evening. And it could be that's high odds, but that doesn't mean he's going to do it.
No. However, a lot of these deer, I think, that are making it to that point, and maybe it's probably different for everybody based on a lot of different things, but there's. I'm able to key in on, because there's not that many. It's like, every year I might have between, at this point, I think we're doing pretty well, better than we used to. I might have I might have like three to five 4-year-olds is kind of like what I would hope for. And I've noticed them obviously at 3. Generally, the good 4-year-olds were, pretty decent 3-year-olds. And, and I don't know how many 3-year-olds there are.
Yeah. 8
or 10.
Yeah.
6, 8, 10, something like that. So, and you start to notice, you're like, where did I pick them up? You're like, oh, interesting. Okay. So at 3, where we're at, you start to notice them, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, there he was at 2. Yep. That confirms the age. And then at 4, again, I'm not hunting them at 4 necessarily in most cases.
Yeah.
And so, but you're really realizing at that point, because there's only, like I said, 3 to 5 of them, where they're at, what they're doing.
On 1,000 acres.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, he's here. Here's kind of what he's doing. And you kind of, you figure it out, you encounter him and stuff. And then by the time, granted, things do change. Like I said, this 4-year-old might do something different, but by now, this 4-year-old, it's not like I've been patterning to hunt him, but like,
where he's doing.
I know where he's at. I know what he's doing.
Yep.
And I have a few, it's just going to take a little bit of refining and whittling it down. He's been easier than some others, though. There's been others that they get to 5, even 6 years old. That GR8 buck, even just now, because I hunted them all last year, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of, and I found his sheds in one of his beds this past year. It's little pieces like that I'm like, gotcha, sucker.
I mean, do you think that's because you didn't pay attention to him as much when he was 4 and 5, just because of his antler size, or?
That's a good question. I can't remember if I hunted him as a 4-year-old or not.
I don't remember hearing about him.
I don't think that I did.
Until last year.
I think there was other deer that I was after.
Yeah.
Or there just were no deer on the farm that year that I was, after. We always have had, what's the one that shot last year? Lebrowski, and it was a crap scoring deer,
which is ancient.
But you saw that thing; it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And there's been other deer on Jed's properties, so I just key in on deer that are of that age class I'm looking at. So I don't think I hunted them as a 4-year-old, so maybe that's why I didn't really start piecing it together till last year, and I hunted him a few times along with Lebrowski because he was there too, and I figured out, oh, he's coming out of this ditch in some cases, and then I found those sheds this past off season. I found them both, and I'm like, okay. Got that piece.
Yeah, that's where that is.
So you start to in your mind, it's like it kind of all lays out a certain way. So yeah, Flyer's a great example, dude. I don't frankly have a great beat on him. I have kind of I know he came out of the ditch that one time with GR8. I'm like, okay, there's one spot, and that's a spot. And I know he's over here sometimes, but I've also seen him over like across the road on a property we won't have access to anymore. So I'm like, but not a lot,
Yeah, but enough that he that's still part of his range. So like, is it extending that way? Is this the boundary? Is this the center?
So every one of them is in my peripherals at all times, Yeah. But then when the time's right, it's like you snatch one out.
Yeah, I would say I think last year was it's probably October when I'm like, okay, or August I should say, when I'm like, okay, these are the deer that they could leave too, right? Because especially in the big woods, they're gonna blow out when the mass changes and home range change. But by August, I'm like, these are the ones that I'm gonna plan on targeting, whether it's Ohio or Kentucky or even here. Like,
it by August.
Yep.
Yeah.
And mainly just because those two, at least right now, are like they're early. Like that's my best chance for getting on them. Especially Kentucky, Velvet, early. Like all of those bucks are still on that property.
By the way, we should establish at this point. It seems like I'm going back to North Dakota.
Oh, you are? Yeah.
I can't stay away. Lucas shows me a couple decent bucks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm coming.
Okay.
So I figure you're going to be in Kentucky anyways.
I'll be there
so
that week.
I just like, it was foreseeing myself just sitting on the sidelines in September, and I was like,
figured you weren't going to sit on the sidelines. I just didn't know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, so that seems like a decent option at this point.
Yeah.
Did I send you some of those bucks from last year?
Yeah.
I mean, some pretty solid targets there. So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's a good camp. I mean, you're up there for what, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Quick and dirty, and it's the timing is frankly perfect between August 10th is the road show.
Yep.
And then it's like pretty open most of August, and then nothing really.
Till last week of September.
Deer wise,
for Ohio. Yeah.
Most of our travel stuff is this month, July.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a good opportunity to look at it, and no attachment to it either. It's like just go in balls deep and make it happen.
Sorry, my brain's jumping around here. I am going to drill brassicas this year.
You are?
Yep. I texted the co-op this morning, and he's like, yeah, it should be available.
Cool.
I'm going to try that. So I texted Skip and asked I said, what's the cocktail for killing
nuking it?
For nuking clover, because it's like a strong clover stand for putting brassicas into. He recommended Gly, 2 quarts per acre, and 2,4-D. He's like, I'd hit it 2-3 weeks in advance, and then he's like, I'd hit it during or right before or right after with another dose of Gly.
Yep, just to really burn it down.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna nuke some of my plots in Kentucky this weekend.
It's coming right up. I'm thinking 4th of July.
Yeah, which is like next week.
Right.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, it's already passed. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna spray all my beans and corn, and I'm gonna nuke those plots too at the same time. I don't have too many. I've got 2 that I'm gonna make sure are in fall plots. I'm also gonna try to dig a water hole or 2.
I guess that's a good point. I need to decide which ones are going into and or Haskies. I'm really having fun with like the food plot design. Like now that I have the option, I'm like, I could just carve a nice, beautiful, like, anaconda across this or whatever, snake them in, try to create some flow of movement,
like in the clover plot, like brassicas in the clover. Yeah, that would work.
I'm just like, why does it have to be a straight line,
Doesn't.
I'm like, why don't I just like make a half moon even or an S and connect these 2 trails in a way that pinches them up in such a way.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do on that side.
Yeah,
I could see reverse. I could see big brassica in a clover trail. Like I feel like that would be.
I'm not talking about a trail. I'm just talking about like half and half.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, we're at that time where, it's starting to, that and hanging stands pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot that starts stacking up again at this point. And, I don't get too crazy, but there's those go-to spots that I want to have a stand in. And then other than that, it'll be mobile, but I think I've got a pretty good beat on, I haven't seen it. My cameras have been dead. So I haven't seen that really big one in Kentucky in 2.5 weeks. I don't know what he looks like at this point, but I'm sure he's throwing splits all over the place. But hopefully I'll get a picture of him, and then I think I nailed down which deer that was, but I haven't seen the 6-year-old there so far this summer, but I mean, I know he made it through. I have pictures of him shed, so.
And it's so cool. Dude, just the thought of that deer walking around on our farm is like,
it's nuts.
It's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really they're just amazing animals.
Yeah. Which is why, like, you fight that battle back and forth of like, they're there. Like I did as much as I could. They're there.
Did you see that picture of him walking through my switchgrass too?
Yeah.
That's what he did. He walked right through the water hole that I built last year and then right into the switchgrass. I'm like, he's using it. He's doing the thing. Like a 4-year-old 170-inch buck is doing the thing.
Doing what he's supposed to do.
Pretty cool.
He's like swimming in the water hole.
Yeah. They love that thing, man.
Yeah, man. I think it's perfect timing for a lot of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, from a planning standpoint, hopefully people are starting to get cameras out, starting to think about where they're going to be. I've had a lot of activity on those community scrapes. They've been freaking crushing those things.
I'm going to tell you, I couldn't pass it up. Stealth Cam was putting out, I don't even know what model it was. The camo ones, they look cool. I don't think it's an older model or something. $50 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
I picked up 2 packs for $6. I bought them with my own money. So.
Yeah. Your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've used those before. I can't remember what they're called.
I like those ones.
Yeah. I think they're good.
So I grabbed 6 more. I have my problem is like over the years I've accrued quite a camera graveyard.
Oh, I've got a massive graveyard.
It's a big one. I'm on my 3rd tote.
I could build like a iRobot out of all of them.
So I'm having to go through and hand test every one and see which ones work, and maybe it's just something up with the battery tray, so I swap them out. And
I think I started throwing some away last year,
which
is like hard. I feel like I'm on like the hoarder show. So I like pick it up and I know it hasn't been in the woods in like 5 years. And I'm like, maybe I just like keep it on the shelf.
I did that for too long. And now I'm having to, for the first time, like intentionally throw them away. So.
Yeah. It's funny that, that pinch that I have up in Kentucky on the big ridge top on public, that camera's been dead for months. And then last night I got 2 pictures of,
oh, not dead. It's not.
No. It was like dead. Like I haven't had any
dead
pictures.
Batteries.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And then all of a sudden, like I got 2 pictures, just 2.
Oh.
And it was of one of the bucks from last year. Not the bigger one, but the smaller one from last year.
Interesting.
He's like a mainframe 10, probably 115, 120 inches,
Okay.
you know, as a 3-year-old maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so that triggered me to say I got to go get that camera back up and running, because if that big one's up there, he'll be
Me too.
a stud.
That prompts me. I need to get out on that public stuff and see what I can hone in on there.
Yep. I've gotten a lot of
That'd
good
be
ones
something,
in
wouldn't it?
Pennsylvania on public.
Yeah.
I probably have three bucks over five or older that I think on public
Nice.
right now.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot of 3-year-olds and stuff, but yeah, and I just need to zone in on them and zone in on them, either one, and just try to get multiple pictures of them, because I have like a survey camera out there, and that's all I'm getting them on. I need another puzzle piece out there to narrow in, but man,
it is tough. Like in Illinois, it sucks to like not have mineral. Like mineral makes in Ohio, it makes it so easy.
That's what they're coming to.
Like for inventory and stuff, and it's like, and you realize, because I'm running some other cameras even on good scrapes and stuff, but I'm just not getting near the frequency use. That's just, it's just not what they're and so for every picture you get of them like on a trail or even on a scrape this time of year, like they're gonna hit the mineral site 10 times.
10 times. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So all of those bucks I picked up in the first 3 days, 2-3 days
on mineral.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I mean now's the time. Well, we've been getting all that rain too, and that's gonna really increase their salt release, so they're gonna have to crush them.
I did put some more clover and alfalfa down on that on the grassy knoll. Yeah. And I put a big vine mock scrape there. Oh, it's nasty.
How's the screen look?
Coming
along.
Coming right along.
Yeah, this shit's gonna blow up here.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man, we're where we need to be. I need to July's I finally can go out and mow my clover plots and stuff, depending on what the weather is. I wouldn't mow it when it's 100 degrees out, but I'm gonna mow and spray those at some point too, and put a little bit more seed out in those. And yeah, man, I think it's all coming along now. It's a bit of, I mean, really, it's like there's a lot of prep in July to get ready.
Some other things I'm doing right now. I think we talked about spraying the beans. So I sprayed all the beans with that cocktail and stuff, praying that doesn't kill my beans. That was some serious stuff.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, when you were putting 0.6 ounces per acre down, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Shit must have burned a hole in you.
Yeah. And for better or worse, there's pros and cons, but fortunately I ended up just a little light. I think I stretched it.
Oh, you didn't double the dose?
No.
If
anything, I'm like 10% light on some stuff. So I'm like, it was good. I had Jed come over that day too, and we bounced around and covered quite a bit of timber for equip stuff. He's going to write me some equip plans. So we'll apply this, December, and that'll get approved this time next year for funding on some projects. So
that'd be good.
What we talked about was in the clear cut. In the clear cut over there, I'm gonna nuke it with a drone in November. Just glide to prep for a tree planting the next year. We'll do 8x8 spacing, double bar. I'll probably have the drone drop some switch seed in the same time.
What are you gonna double bar in?
Hardwoods.
You are.
Maybe some softwoods too. Just whatever. Tree
just
planting.
Wood.
I'm going to hopefully use that as my leverage to get Mom to let me clear cut the pines that are adjacent to it. That's what I really like to do. And then the rest of it is like invasive management.
Yep.
And some are, frankly, some of it's going to get cut, timbered. A lot of it is compaction stuff. Like it just they're not growing.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good one to take in and look at right now, and
been doing a lot of that. We did that in Illinois too, looking at some other programs for tax incentives and stuff, and also equip for that. It's just kind of like the money's there, and if you're going to do the work already, you might as well get some money.
Yeah, try to get somebody to offset it for you. Yeah, man, I think I'm stoked. I mean, July's it's going to be a busy time for him. We've got travel out to Hoyt and to Mountain Tough and to TAC in Utah. Yep. We'll get brassicas in. We've got an Illinois trip. Like,
really excited for that.
It's a loaded month for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think it's
text
good.
Jen.
I did.
Attaboy.
Yep. Big boost only.
Nice. Yeah, that's all we need.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I think we're
order your brassicas. Yeah.
Order your brassicas.
Pure Wildlife Seed code HUNTR. Get your discount.
Yep. So yeah, we got everything ordered, ready to go. Yeah, man, I feel pretty good about where we're at on this stuff right now. At least. So we'll find out. I haven't been on my farms in boy, I don't know, couple weeks in Kentucky and like 4 or 5 weeks in Ohio. I haven't been back at least. So I'll try to get there next week at some point, probably.
Mock scrapes. It's funny, dude. It's like it never ends. It's always mock scrapes. I'd get them in right now.
Yeah.
I put another one up at Jared and Margie
in
the event that's still working out, and that 8-point showed up last night.
Yep.
That's where he'll be.
Yep. Water holes are on my list right now, knowing that like we're getting rain now, but at some point she's going to shut off and the heat's going to be there, and having those water holes in a right area is going to be key.
Really interested to see how that. I'm pretty optimistic, frankly. It seems like it's holding like a champ.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
But how cool is that?
Yeah, that's
a big water hole.
Yeah, it's giant.
Pretty fun. That was a whole pallet of bentonite. I don't know if that was necessary, but
it's a lot of bentonite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit's probably like a pottery bottom.
Wasn't that expensive either? A couple $100 for all that, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's like $20 for a 30-pound bag or something. 40-pound bag.
It's 40 bags a pallet, I think.
Yep. So yeah, man, I think we're in pretty good shape. Hopefully everybody listening to this is getting some things going. We are sold out of the Whitetail Roadshow, right?
I believe so. You can look. There might be like 1 or 2 left, but
pretty sold out.
For the most part, it's sold out.
So we've got that coming up in August.
Unless they never set the limit and it's just we're way over that.
Yeah, I don't know. We're putting together a new hunter giveaway. So you guys are gonna get your chance. It's in the back room here. We've got a Hoyt AX2 new bow that we're gonna be giving away. So we'll get that together plus another bunch of other stuff.
Whole bunch of other
Beast,
stuff.
Deer Grow, bunch of other stuff. And we appreciate everyone listening to this week's Farm Companion, and we will see y'all next Sunday night.
Farm Companion.
Take me